Family, today we step into a conversation that has the power to shift the way you see your future. So often we pray for change, but we overlook the wisdom God places in the lives of those He has elevated. Oprah Winfrey's journey is more than celebrity. It's a testimony of resilience, vision, and divine alignment. My heart is that as we lean into her life lessons, you won't just be inspired, you'll be transformed. Let's open our spirits to receive what God wants to reveal through this story of perseverance and purpose. There comes a moment in every journey where the noise of your past seems louder than the vision of your future. You can hear the echoes of old mistakes, the labels others pinned on you, the memories of seasons when everything in you felt small. If you're not careful, those echoes start to sound like prophecy, and you begin to believe that where you've been is the limit of where you can go. But family, heaven has already declared a different word over you. God never consults your history to decide your destiny. The pages behind you do not dictate the chapters waiting to be written. What Oprah's life reminds us is that circumstances, however bleak, are not chains unless we agree to wear them. She was born into poverty, endured rejection, and faced trauma at an age when children should be free to dream. If her life had been judged solely by the conditions of her beginning, the world would have closed the book on her long before she could turn a single page. Yet she refused to allow the sum of her pain to become the sum of her identity. That posture, standing up inside yourself and saying, I am not what happened to me, I am who I choose to become, is where transformation begins. Many of us have rehearsed the script of our shortcomings. For so long we've forgotten we can rewrite the dialogue. The Spirit invites you to tear up the draft that shame keeps handing you and let God author a narrative of redemption. Owning your narrative does not mean denying your wounds. It means refusing to let them define your worth. It is courageously naming the places where you have been broken, yet declaring that brokenness is not the final word. When you look at Oprah's ascent, you see a young woman who could have internalized every limitation spoken over her. Too poor, too black, too female, too damaged. Instead, she gathered those fragments, surrendered them, and allowed a vision bigger than her pain to lead her. Every moment you choose to rise instead of retreat, you reclaim territory the enemy tried to forfeit. Every time you speak life where regret whispers death, you participate in rewriting your story. There is a subtle power in acknowledging, I cannot change where I started, but I can choose where I'm going. That is the heartbeat of owning your narrative. Your voice becomes the loudest voice in the room when you align it with what God says about you. It is no longer about proving anyone wrong. It becomes about proving the promise right. When you watch someone like Oprah navigate rooms she was never supposed to enter, you are witnessing the fruit of identity anchored beyond circumstance. She cultivated a sense of self so rooted in purpose that no rejection letter, no early loss, no statistic could determine her ceiling. She took ownership not only of her dreams, but of the belief that those dreams were valid even before the evidence appeared. For many of us, the barrier isn't lack of opportunity, but the narrative loop we're playing in our minds. This is just who I am. Nothing ever changes. People like me don't rise that high. Family, that loop is a lie. It was authored by disappointment, but it can be deleted by truth. God's word consistently reframes people's stories. Slaves become liberators. Shepherds become kings. Overlooked daughters birth legacy. That same God stands ready to rewrite yours. Owning your narrative means silencing the commentary of fear and replacing it with declarations of faith. It means shifting from, I can't because of where I came from, to, I will because of where He's taking me. There is a discipline to this mindset. It's not an overnight decision, but a daily renewal. Each morning you wake up and refuse to be held hostage by yesterday. You take inventory of the thoughts allowed to dwell in your heart. You forgive, you release, you bless even what tried to break you. And then you dream again, bigger, wider, unafraid. Oprah often speaks of intention, of the clarity that comes when you decide the meaning of your experiences instead of letting them decide for you. That clarity shifts you from victimhood into authorship. You stop asking life for permission and start drafting destiny with bold ink. Owning your narrative is also about stewardship. The testimony of your journey carries weight not just for you, but for those who will listen. When you admit where you've been and testify of where you're headed, you create a map for someone still lost in the storm. Oprah's candor about her hardships has unlocked courage in countless lives. Your willingness to frame your past through the lens of purpose becomes someone else's permission slip to believe in tomorrow. It is less about perfection and more about presence, standing fully in who you are, scars and all, and declaring that God's grace is greater than every shadow. Healing and ownership often intertwine. To claim your story, you must be willing to confront it. That may mean therapy, prayer, conversations you've avoided, truths you've hidden. Oprah leaned into self-work relentlessly, Peeling back layers until freedom was no longer optional, but inevitable. Owning your narrative is not always glamorous. It is often gritty. It asks you to face the hurt without letting it harden you, to hold the memory while releasing the sting. Yet in that process, your authenticity deepens and your voice gains authority. People do not follow perfection. They follow truth wrapped in courage. The miracle of embracing your narrative is the way it liberates creativity. Once you stop rehearsing shame, you start rehearsing possibility. Energy once wasted on regret gets redirected toward vision. You dare to ask bigger questions. What can I build? Who can I become? Whose lives will be changed because I chose not to hide? Oprah's journey from local broadcaster to global icon wasn't fueled by flawless beginnings. It was fueled by relentless belief. Every stage she occupied carried echoes of where she started, yet she refused to bow to those echoes. She stood taller, spoke louder, reached wider. Your past is a chapter, not the conclusion. It is a paragraph in a book still unfolding. When you internalize that truth, you begin to see limitation as an invitation to rise higher, to go deeper, to let grace rewrite every line. Family, do not despise the early pages. Do not let the critics narrate your future. Lift your head, anchor your identity. And remember, destiny does not wait for perfect conditions. It waits for your agreement. You are the co-author, and heaven has already provided the ink. Consistency is often the silent bridge between what you dream and what you actually walk into. It is easy to be inspired for a moment, to feel the rush of possibility when you hear a testimony or catch a glimpse of what your life could be. But destiny is not sustained by bursts of inspiration. It is shaped by the steady, almost unseen rhythm of daily choices. When Oprah speaks about her journey, there is an undeniable thread. She kept showing up. She kept refining her craft, kept studying, kept learning the nuances of her voice and message, even when nobody was applauding. Aligning discipline with destiny means refusing to wait for perfect conditions before you begin. It means treating the unseen season as sacred, allowing the mundane to become the training ground for the miraculous. The moments you think no one notices often carry the weight of preparation for everything you have prayed to see. There is a cost to alignment. It will ask you to say no to shortcuts, no to the temptation of overnight recognition, no to the distractions that fracture focus. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about posture. It positions you where purpose can find you ready. Oprah's rise was not the result of a single opportunity, but the accumulation of years where she prepared without a guarantee. She embraced learning, weathered rejection, and allowed her hunger to be greater than her fear. Family, that is what destiny demands, a consistent yes, when it would be easier to sit down. It is the willingness to refine your character as much as your talent, to let your habits speak louder than your intentions. Destiny listens for the echo of faithfulness in the ordinary, and discipline is the language it understands. Many of us pray for doors to open, but fail to realize that character built in obscurity sustains us once those doors swing wide. Aligning discipline with destiny is more than scheduling. It is stewardship. It is asking, if God answered my prayer today, would my life be ready to hold it? Oprah's career is marked by preparation meeting opportunity. She mastered her lane, learned her audience, and cultivated excellence long before the world called her a powerhouse. That is what makes the foundation unshakable. A sudden platform without process often collapses, but a platform built on intentional growth endures storms. Every hour you invest in growth is an act of faith, a declaration that your future is worthy of preparation. Discipline validates belief. When you observe the habits of those who live impactful lives, there is a quiet thread of intentionality. They do not simply hope for transformation, they structure their lives around it. Aligning discipline with destiny asks you to interrogate your rhythms. What consumes your mornings? Where does your focus drift when no one is asking for it? Oprah's schedule reflects her values: reading, reflection, careful curation of what feeds her mind. Your destiny will always demand a diet of focus. You cannot expect to reap excellence while sowing distraction. Every great calling requires pruning. Aligning yourself with destiny means cutting away what dilutes purpose, even when it is comfortable. Comfort rarely births greatness. There is an emotional component to discipline that many overlook. It is not merely about rigid schedules. It is about resilience when feelings fluctuate. Motivation will fade, clarity will wobble, fatigue will whisper reasons to quit. In those moments, discipline becomes the guardrail that keeps destiny in view. Oprah often references intention as the compass of her work. Intention paired with discipline anchors you when passion feels distant. Family, waiting for the perfect mood to build your future is a recipe for stagnation. Aligning discipline with the destiny invites you to act your way into feeling instead of feeling your way into action. The consistency you cultivate becomes the scaffolding for every dream God has placed in your heart. Another layer to this alignment is the humility to be teachable. Discipline is not rigid arrogance, it is pliable wisdom. Oprah surrounded herself with mentors, absorbed criticism, and treated feedback as fertilizer for growth. Aligning with destiny requires that same humility, acknowledging you have more to learn, being willing to unlearn what no longer serves your calling, and embracing correction without shame. Discipline refuses to be offended by refinement. It welcomes the chisel because it recognizes the masterpiece beneath the stone. Growth without guidance often leads to stagnation, but a heart submitted to wisdom will always rise. Time stewardship is the silent currency of destiny. Every hour has the potential to either invest in tomorrow or delay it. Aligning discipline with destiny asks you to audit your days honestly. Where are you sowing effort? What are you building brick by brick? Oprah's discipline was not accidental. It was intentional allocation of her energy toward excellence. She built credibility through reliability. And credibility opened rooms that talent alone could never secure. Family, reliability is destiny's invitation. When heaven sees you faithful with the little, the larger assignments will seek you. Doors cannot stay closed forever before a consistent knock. Discipline also guards identity. In a culture that glorifies instant visibility, it is easy to confuse exposure with purpose. Oprah's journey is proof that longevity comes from roots, not hype. Aligning discipline with destiny keeps you tethered to process instead of applause. It invites you to grow deep before you grow wide, to build substance before chasing status. When the foundation is laid in patience and practice, influence becomes an overflow, not a pursuit. Destiny is not intimidated by time. It matures like fruit, sweetening through seasons of care. Discipline is the hand that tends the soil while vision is still unseen. There is a spiritual dimension to this as well. Discipline is worship when it aligns your habits with heaven's call. It is honoring the gift of time by shaping it into something God can breathe upon. Oprah's openness to spirituality informed her decisions, grounded her resilience, and expanded her perspective beyond mere success. Aligning discipline with destiny asks you to invite God into the planning, to let his wisdom order your steps, to make your routine an altar where purpose is nourished. Prayer, reflection, and intentional rest are as much disciplines as study or practice. Without that grounding, ambition can become idolatry, and destiny can morph into distraction. Fear often masquerades as procrastination. Discipline unmasks it by demanding forward motion even when uncertainty looms. Aligning with destiny means rejecting the lie that you must feel ready before you begin. Oprah did not wait for unanimous approval. She stewarded her lane until her lane expanded. Each small act of obedience compounds into legacy. Discipline multiplies impact by transforming fragments of effort into a tapestry of accomplishment. Destiny rarely arrives in a rush. It unfolds through rhythm. Those who keep moving, even with trembling hands, eventually find themselves standing in rooms they once only imagined. Community plays a vital role in sustaining this rhythm. Isolation breeds inconsistency, but alignment thrives in accountability. Oprah's circle included people who sharpened her vision, challenged complacency, and mirrored excellence. Aligning discipline with destiny means curating relationships that reinforce purpose instead of eroding it. Who speaks into your routines? Who celebrates your growth? Who challenges your excuses? Family. Destiny is often unlocked in covenant. You are never called to steward greatness alone. The right community nurtures discipline, cheers resilience, and amplifies progress. Finally, discipline reframes failure. It teaches you that setbacks are data, not identity. Oprah faced cancellations, criticism, and seasons where success was far from guaranteed. Yet her consistency transformed each detour into a lesson, each closed door into redirection. Aligning discipline with destiny allows you to see rejection as refinement, obstacles as opportunity to fortify character. When your habits are anchored, no single defeat defines the narrative. You rise, adjust, and continue the march toward purpose because your eyes are fixed beyond the moment. The repetition of this cycle strengthens resolve and stretches capacity until destiny recognizes its steward. The alignment of discipline with destiny is not a single decision, but a lifestyle. It demands daily agreement, intentional habits, and courageous prioritization. Oprah's legacy testifies to the quiet power of unwavering focus. Destiny is not impatient. It waits for those willing to labor unseen. Discipline keeps you in posture until vision becomes reality, until whispers of calling evolve into the wait fulfillment, until the future you once imagined begins to breathe in the present. Influence is a sacred trust, and when you begin to see it through that lens, everything about the way you carry yourself changes. Influence is not simply the crowd that follows you, the numbers attached to your name, or the applause that comes when your voice fills a room. True influence is the quiet impact of your life on the unseen choices of others. When Oprah Winfrey speaks about her journey, the most striking quality is not merely her success, but the integrity with which she has stewarded her platform. She consistently turns her attention from fame to purpose, from visibility to service, from noise to meaning. Stewarding influence with integrity begins in the private spaces where motives are tested long before opportunities appear. It is choosing character over convenience, honesty over expedience, substance over spectacle. Without that choice, influence becomes fragile, swaying with public opinion. With integrity, influence becomes a legacy that outlives headlines. Every platform invites temptation. The moment your voice begins to carry weight, the enemy whispers of shortcuts, ways to maintain the image without nurturing the soul, ways to chase recognition while neglecting responsibility. Oprah's story reveals a different path, one marked by thoughtful stewardship. She curates what aligns with her values, declines what dilutes her mission, and honors her audience by giving them substance. Stewarding influence means understanding that people are not props for your ambition. They are souls entrusted to your example. Every interaction shapes perception. Every choice communicates values. When you decide that the impact of your life matters more than the optics of your brand, you step into the rare air where legacy is forged. Integrity requires introspection. It asks hard questions about why you desire influence in the first place. Is it affirmation, power, the longing to fill a void, or is it the call to serve, to illuminate, to lift others? Oprah's longevity flows from clarity of intention. She built a platform around authentic connection, elevating stories that mattered and giving voice to conversations that others avoided. Family. Influence without clarity becomes chaos. Stewarding it well means defining the why before chasing the how. It means you are anchored when trends shift, rooted when opinions divide, unshaken when applause fades. Influence is most dangerous when wielded by an identity still searching for validation. It is most fruitful when held by a heart already secure. The culture often rewards spectacle, louder headlines, bigger followings, curated personas. Integrity asks you to resist that pull. It invites you to do good when no one is watching, to honor commitments even when applause would not come, to tell the truth even when lies feel easier. Oprah's credibility rests not on perfection, but on the consistency of her values. She is transparent about mistakes, yet diligent in correction, refusing to hide behind image management. That posture disarms cynicism and builds trust. Influence expands naturally when people believe your life matches your message. Stewarding it means you recognize that trust, once broken, is difficult to repair. Every choice either strengthens or erodes it. There is a weight that comes with voice. Words shape culture. Decisions ripple beyond intention. Silence can either heal or harm. Stewarding influence with integrity means being mindful of what you amplify. Oprah's platforms became vehicles for empathy, empowerment, and education. She refused to sensationalize pain, instead framing it through healing and possibility. That is integrity in action, choosing edification over exploitation. Each of us, regardless of platform size, has the same choice. What we share, endorse, or normalize either elevates humanity or diminishes it. Influence is stewardship. It belongs as much to those you touch as to you. The question is never how big is my audience, but how faithful am I with their trust? Another dimension of integrity is accountability. Influence tempts isolation, the belief that success exempts you from feedback, yet growth requires voices that can challenge you, mentors who will confront blind spots, friends who care more about your soul than your spotlight. Oprah sought wisdom, remained teachable, and surrounded herself with those who spoke truth. Stewarding influence means building safeguards that keep pride at bay. Accountability transforms influence from an idol into an instrument. It protects vision, sharpens character, and preserves humility. The absence of accountability is the breeding ground for scandal. Its presence is the anchor that sustains credibility. Humility is the unseen foundation of lasting impact. Integrity flourishes in the soil of humility because it reminds you that influence is not self-made. It is entrusted. Oprah often attributes her success to divine guidance, timing, and the faithfulness of those who believed in her. Such posture deflects glory from self and redirects it toward gratitude. Humility recognizes that the people you inspire are not steps toward your goals, but fellow travelers deserving honor. Stewarding influence means serving those you lead, amplifying their voices, empowering their growth. It is influence turned outward, refusing to hoard spotlight and eager to multiply opportunity. Transparency is another pillar. Integrity thrives where honesty lives. Owning mistakes, acknowledging limits, admitting when you do not know, all these actions deepen trust. Oprah's authenticity disarms cynicism because people sense the alignment between her words and her walk. Stewarding influence with integrity does not mean flawless execution. It means courageous truthfulness. People forgive errors. They resist deception. Influence anchored in transparency invites collaboration, breeds loyalty, and fosters genuine connection. Pretending perfection alienates, authenticity unites. The world is starved for leaders who will lead with unvarnished humanity. Stewarding influence also demands vision. Without it, even well-intentioned platforms drift toward emptiness. Vision clarifies priorities, dictates collaborations, and filters opportunities. Oprah's projects, from book clubs to philanthropic efforts, mirror her broader commitment to growth, learning, and empowerment. Integrity ensures vision is never compromised for expedience. It is the quiet no to lucrative offers misaligned with purpose, the refusal to endorse narratives that wound rather than heal. Vision without integrity breeds manipulation. Vision with integrity births transformation. Influence is never static. It either elevates or erodes. Stewardship keeps it pointed toward elevation. The legacy of influence is measured not by temporary fame, but by generational impact. Integrity stretches influence beyond the moment, embedding it in the lives it touches. Oprah's philanthropic endeavors, educational initiatives, and platforms for marginalized voices speak to this reality. She understood that success hoarded is success wasted. Stewarding influence with integrity means asking, who will be better because I carried this voice? What doors will remain open long after I exit the room? It transforms ambition into assignment, self-interest into service. The ripple of such influence cannot be quantified. It can only be lived. Courage is often required. Integrity sometimes costs you partnerships, popularity, or ease. Speaking truth may alienate. Refusing compromise may delay reward. Yet influence protected by compromise is influence already diminished. Oprah's resilience through criticism and controversy underscores the necessity of courage. Stewarding influence means embracing discomfort when values are tested, standing firm when crowds waver, refusing to dilute conviction for applause. Courage fortifies integrity, ensuring that influence remains clean even when pressured. The reward is peace, the inner knowing that you did not barter soul for spotlight. Spiritual grounding anchors influence when storms arise. Platforms attract scrutiny. Criticism, misunderstanding. Without inner stability, the weight of public perception can crush purpose. Oprah's ongoing practice of reflection, gratitude, and spiritual seeking provides ballast. Stewarding influence means tending the inner life with as much intentionality as the outer image. Prayer, meditation, scripture, journaling, these disciplines are not optional luxuries. They are lifelines. Influence without inner depth is a house without foundation. Storms will reveal its fragility. Integrity deepens roots until external winds cannot uproot. Mentorship extends integrity beyond self. Stewarding influence means reproducing wisdom, guiding emerging voices, and transferring lessons learned. Oprah's support for countless authors, leaders, and storytellers exemplifies this principle. Influence hoarded shrinks, influence shared multiplies. Integrity asks, who am I raising as I rise? The measure of your platform is not the echo of your name, but the chorus of others empowered by your faithfulness. Stewarding influence is generational work, seeding courage into hearts you may never meet, shaping futures long after your own voice grows quiet. Gratitude preserves perspective. It keeps entitlement at bay and honors those who paved your path. Oprah's frequent acknowledgement of her roots, mentors, and audience reflects this posture. Stewarding influence with integrity means remaining aware that no success exists in isolation. Every achievement stands on unseen shoulders. Teachers, parents, friends, colleagues. Gratitude turns influence from possession into privilege, fostering humility and generosity. It reframes ambition, reminding you that legacy is collective, not solitary. A grateful heart wields influence gently, aware of its impact and eager to honor its origins. Influence also requires discernment. Not every invitation aligns with destiny. Not every stage serves your mission. Integrity filters opportunities through purpose, declining even lucrative ventures if they dilute authenticity. Oprah's career is marked by deliberate choices, selective partnerships, and an unwavering sense of identity. Stewarding influence means trusting that closed doors can be protection, that the right opportunities will align with peace, that timing matters as much as talent. Discernment guards against burnout, exploitation, and mission drift. Influence thrives when it flows from alignment, not desperation. Resilience closes the circle. Influence attracts criticism as surely as it invites praise. Integrity equips you to endure both without losing self. Oprah has weathered storms of opinion, yet continues to evolve, refusing to be defined by any single narrative. Stewarding influence means staying teachable under fire, holding identity steady when misunderstood, finding lessons in opposition. It is the quiet determination to keep showing up authentically regardless of shifting tides. Resilience refines influence until it glows with maturity, no longer dependent on external validation, but anchored in inner conviction.